Friday, October 14th, 2016. Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I like to talk about the EU referendum we had on June 23rd in the UK, which is more widely known as Brexit, and the US presidential elections this year. And there is an article on Zero Hedge by Brendan Smith, and the title of it is "Global Elites Are Getting Ready to Blame You for the Coming Financial Crash." He argues that they want that Trump is really going to win, and that's going to be an excuse for them to bring the system down. And it's an interesting idea or theory. And the reason I want to talk about it is because I've been covering and talking about that kind of mind frame ever way before Mr. Brandon Smith came out with his article. So, for example, on June 22nd, the day before Brexit, I said, will Brexit be used as a scapegoat for global financial reset? Basically saying, because I've worked in the markets and I follow currencies, and in 2014, the pound was at 171 against the dollar. That was the high, post-crisis high. And then all the way to, let's say, the end of 2015, way before the referendum, the pound dropped below 150. So we were already seeing like a devaluation of the pound then. We also saw a devaluation of the pound from the high of 211 to the dollar just before the '08 crisis to 135 in the beginning, at the bottom of the crisis in the beginning of '09, we got down to 135. So my theory is that the powers that be, they've bailed out the banks. The bankers haven't been punished. If anything, they're getting even bigger bonuses. The people are angry. There's so-called austerity in the UK. People lost their jobs, and even if they have jobs, they're not earning as much. So the powers that be, the governments in the UK and US, they've extended and pretended for as long as they can. And my argument is that they need to bring the system down to reset it. That was my video. And what better way to do that and blame the people in the the people who voted for these things. It's very clear now. You listen to the radio here in the UK, LBC, James O'Brien especially. Everything is Brexit's fault. The fact that the pound's declining, the fact that inflation's rising, it's all Brexit's fault. But no one covers the fact that the US and the UK have, not only the US and UK, but most of the Western countries have been living beyond their means since early 70s with the fall of Bretton Woods, and the growth of the welfare state. Wasn't it Greenspan who said that a gold standard is the enemy of the statist? And that he was right. So without the gold standard, we've seen the growth of the state, heavy government borrowing, deficit spending, trade deficits, and that comes to a second video I made. When was it? October 8th, so not only about 6 days ago. And it says, dollar and sterling collapse have been brewing for decades. And I argue, I talk about, the trade deficits, the fact that the US and the UK are huge debtor nations. So, and the other thing is that the system has become mathematically impossible to keep this system of fiat money, debt, and credit going. because the Achilles heel of the fiat system is that you always have to keep expanding the debt in order to roll over old debt and pay the interest and keep the system going. And I'm sure the powers that be at the central banks and whoever is behind the scenes financially, they know very well, better than you and me, about this fact. But they need to bring about a reset or a crisis in a way that they're not blamed for it. Because in the end of the day, it is their fault. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's not, the public's fault that this is happening. And that's what Mr. Brandon Smith says in his article as well. The people in these movements, they're not to blame. It's just the way they've run the financial system and the economies for the last 40, 50 years. We've come to a point where it's not sustainable anymore. What we have to make sure is hopefully we don't go back to the same system. That's very difficult to say. And now Brexit, I followed it, the referendum campaign, what was happening. I followed the spread betting on the event in the UK. You can bet on politics. And the Remain side, just a few hours prior to the polls closing, the IG index that I followed, they were giving the Remain was 90 bid at 95, which meant, you could buy at 95 and 100 is, the win for Remain. So they're giving a 90%, 95% chance that they would win. And the Brexit market was way down around 0 bid at 5 or something like that. So, and in the weeks running up to the referendum vote on June 23rd, all the mainstream media, everyone, the economists, they're all saying, it's gonna be a landslide for the Remain campaign. Unfortunately, had the death of Labour MP Joe Cox, and the media straight away associated that with the Brexiteers. And even I thought, whoa, the chance of Brexit has gone down. But it didn't. And Brexit won through 52% to 48. So, and the same thing. And I have to say, I'm not taking sides because I'm not an American. I'm not going to vote. But from observing in the last couple, 10 days or so, what's happened about these tapes that come out for Trump, about the WikiLeaks for Clinton, it's just very divisive. I know the mainstream media isn't covering the WikiLeaks leaks about Clinton and the corruption of the Clinton Foundation and all that. They are, of course, focusing on the Trump tape. But the other thing I've done in the last few days is actually go on YouTube and listen to Trump's rallies. And the interesting thing about the rallies is that yesterday there was one in Ohio last night. There was 21,000 people in the auditorium, and there were apparently 5,000 people outside trying to get in, and they weren't able to get in. And the other interesting thing about the rallies is not that he's doing just one a day or one every 2 days. Yesterday morning he was in West Palm Beach, Florida, and he did a rally there in the morning. And then, he flew over to Ohio. And the support is amazing. The Hillary rallies are few and far between, and I have seen them. There's maybe 100, 200 people. A lot of times it's just students. You don't have this grassroots support for Hillary. So what am I trying to say here? Well, after the Trump tapes came out, all the mainstream media in the US is saying, oh, Trump is finished. Trump has lost support from Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House. But one thing about the US House of Representatives and Congress is that I saw the other day, I think the approval rating from the American people of Congress is about 12% or so. It could be 13, if I'm not mistaken. It was as low as 11. So the fact that the guy who's the Speaker of Congress, Speaker of the House, is not supporting Trump might actually be positive for him. But anyway, I think it's just the divisiveness is huge. A little bit like the Remain and Brexit camps, or the Leavers. The Trump and the Hillary divide is huge. I think personally, we could see a Trump win. Some of the polls, for example, Rasmussen poll, for example, it says here October 13th, so yesterday, even after the tapes, it says Trump takes lead. The full results from Sunday night's debates are in, and Donald Trump has come from behind to take the lead over Hillary Clinton. And it says the last Rasmussen reports White House Watch national telephone and online survey showed Trump with 43% support among likely U.S. voters to Clinton's 41%. Yesterday, that was October 12th, I guess before the discounted for the debate. It says yesterday, Clinton still held a 4-point lead, 43-39 over Trump. But that was down from 5 points on Tuesday, and her biggest lead ever of 7 points on Monday. So actually Trump is caught right back up and is leading Clinton according to the Rasmussen poll. The other one that I'm looking at here is the LA Times tracking poll as well. And right now, the latest one is before that tape came out, let's see here, on October 2nd, Trump had 45.8% according to the LA Times, and Hillary had 42.7%. Now, and you can see a drop in the chart because of the tapes. And now Clinton is leading 44.2 to 43.9, which is basically a dead heat. So what am I trying to say now? Well, I think whatever happens on November 8th, the results will be out on November 9th. Whatever happens, I think we're in for a rough ride economically and financially. And if Trump wins, we could see the same kind of event in the markets as we saw after Brexit on June 24th, but this time it will be even more accentuated because it's the United States. And I would expect maybe to start seeing a little bit more volatility in the run-up to the elections, because would you really want to be highly leveraged and have a high, positioned as a trader or even maybe as an investor prior to this election on November 8th? I don't think so. So yeah, Mr. Smith, Brendan Smith, could be right, because I've had the same kind of view. It's a contrarian view, because most people think that what we're told by the establishment and powers that be is gospel. But I always say follow the money. And you have to go back years, with the fall of Bretton Woods, the system that we've got of fiat money and all the debt, and then the '08 crisis, and how Hank Paulson, who was U.S. Treasury Secretary at the time, said, the West is fucked. So it's all extend and pretend. And now the pretend can't be done anymore. And they're using these political events to basically, move the blame, throw the blame on the people and not on the people that they really need to. I guess maybe in general we are to blame because the public, they've bought into the, debt system, the credit system. They've wanted the free things. They've wanted to borrow money. They wanted the big house, all the cars. So yeah, we're all to blame, but we've been led the wrong path. So they're trying to say now with these events that no, it's all your fault. The central banks and the lawmakers have, they've done nothing wrong. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, also share it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to donate, this is a way of sponsoring the channel. There's some links below in the description. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.